Hello everyone, this is Dr. Snehi Mishra and welcome to my channel PhysioPlanet. And in this video I will talk about the causes and clinical feature of the facial nerve paralysis. In my previous video I have already explained the course and function of the facial nerve. Today I would like to start from the causes of facial nerve paralysis. Okay. So whenever the facial nerve is getting injured, it will result in facial paralysis. And the facial nerve can get injured because of some different reasons, like whenever there is any trauma such as temporal bone fracture, basal skull fracture is there, or any kind of infection like meningitis, infection of the middle ear is there. Some rare conditions like GBS, multiple sclerosis can also result in facial nerve injury. Some tumor like tumor of the acoustic meatus is also one of the reasons for facial nerve injury. So when the actual cause of the facial nerve injury is not known, it is considered as idiopathic facial palsy, which is called Bell's. Now some people are more prone to develop the facial nerve injury, like pregnant female, a person who is having diabetes mellitus, hypertensive patients. So once the facial nerve got injured, so how the patient will present, what all will be the complaint of the patient. So when the patient will come to your OPD, like facial nerve has three components: motor, sensory and parasympathetic. So some motor symptoms will be there, some sensory component will be there, and some parasympathetic problems, presentations will be there. Like for the motor, the patient will complain the patient is having inability in closing the eyes, which is supplied by the facial nerve branch. And so when the facial nerve is getting injured, the orbicularis oculi will get paralyzed and patient will not be able to close the eyes, which is a motor component. Patient will have inability in smile. Patient will have difficulty in making different kind of facial expression. And the patient will having difficulty in articulations. Basically the labial consonants will get affected, which require the lip seal, like P, B, all this will be affected. And a patient will also say, like, there will be a wrinkle will not be present on the forehead. When you are asking the patient to do this, to raise the eyebrow, there will be flattening, no wrinkle will be there. And one more presentation will be there, like flattening of the nasolabial fold. This fold will not be present. The patient will complain, when I am eating or drinking, there is drooling of the fluid, because the lip seal is not possible. There will be drooping of corner of the mouth, and when the patient smile or try to smile, the corner of mouth will deviate toward the normal side. So these all are the motor component. If I talk about the parasympathetic, like there will be decreased lacrimation. Now the patient is not able to close the eyes properly and lacrimation is also affected. So whenever there is a facial nerve injury, these two conditions will result in dryness of the cornea. And other is like salivation. Salivation will also get affected. This is also one of the parasympathetic function. Then the sensory component is the facial nerve supplies the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. So the taste sensation on anterior part of the tongue will also be affected. So these all are the presentation which patient will tell. Other than this, one complaint can also be there, like the patient is having pain in the ear. And other presentations can be like some patient complain like there is having hypersensitivity to the loud sound. This is because when the facial nerve is passing through the middle ear, as I have explained in my previous video, it gives one motor branch to the stapedius muscle, which controls the excessive vibration of stapes bone during loud sound. Now the facial nerve is injured, so stapedius muscle will also get paralyzed, which will so there is no muscle to control the excessive vibration of the stapes bone, so which result in hyperacusis. Now, as I have explained the causes and a presentation of the patient, so as being a clinical physiotherapist, how will you assess the patient for the facial nerve injury? So you can, when the patient is coming in your OPD, by observation itself, you can find some points, like when you are observing the patient, you need to see on the face, you need to see the complete face of the patient, see for any asymmetry, any deviation of the mouth. You can focus on eyes and this mouth area. So on observation, whenever you are dealing with the facial nerve injury patient, on observation you should focus on complete this whole area, face. For asymmetry, focus on the eyes, see whether there is any there is proper closing of the eyelids or not. See, there is any drooping of the angle of mouth or not. So these are 3 points you need to look. Like on observation, we need to focus on 3 points: whole face of the patient, eyes and mouth. So if I see on the face, look for the asymmetry. The two half of the face is not similar. The right and left half of the face is asymmetrical. Then for eyes, the eyes is open. Look for both the eyes. Even you can see here, the eye is open. The orbicularis oculi got paralyzed. This is the reason why the patient's eye is open. Then the third point is you need to focus on mouth. See, there is drooping of the angle of mouth, and this is nasolabial fold. The nasolabial fold is also got flattened in this patient on this side, affected side. So these all are 3 points you need to look when you are dealing with the patient who is having facial paralysis. Okay. So after observation, we need to do some examination to decide to diagnose the facial injury. So as I have told, there is different part of the facial nerve, like motor part, sensory part and parasympathetic. So we will do the examination for all the components. For motor component, to raise the eyebrow, ask the patient to raise the eyebrow. If the patient is having facial nerve injury, the patient will not be able to raise the eyebrows. There will be no wrinkle on affected side. Yes, there are some conditions like whether the patient is having UMN injury or LMN injury. If the UMN injury is there, the wrinkle will be, the forehead area will be normal, and in LMN injury there will be no wrinkle on the forehead when you are asking the patient to raise the eyebrows. The next is when you are asking the patient to close the eyes against resistance, like the therapist will try to open the eyes and patient will close it. At that time, the eyeball will turn outward and upward, which is called Bell's phenomena. And the next point is, ask the patient to smile. When the patient will smile, there will be asymmetrical angle, and the angle of mouth will deviate toward the normal side. Suppose if this is the normal side, so angle of mouth will deviate toward the normal side. I will show you that in picture. So in motor component examination, when we are asking the patient to raise the eyebrow, there will be no wrinkle on affected side. So you can see in this patient, even the patient will not be able to raise the eyebrow, and after that there is no wrinkle on this side, affected side. This side, normal side, there is wrinkle. So this is one observation. Then when you are asking the patient to smile, the angle of mouth will deviate toward the normal side, and nasolabial fold also you can see here, and this lower eyelid is turned outward. As I have told, the Bell's phenomena, when we will ask the patient to close the eyes, the eyeball will move upward and outward. This is called Bell's phenomena. And another motor component examination you can do is for the buccinator. Ask the patient to blow out the cheek, and the lip will be closed, like the mouth will be closed, and ask the patient to blow out the cheek, and at that same time apply resistance to deflate the cheeks. This is that patient will do like this, and the therapist will deflate. If the patient is having facial nerve injury, the patient will not be able to do this because the air will leak out from the mouth, because the complete lip seal is not possible in facial nerve injury. Examination I have told. For the sensory component, can do the sensory examination, like taste sensation examination on anterior tongue. Ask the patient to protrude the tongue, and you can check the different kind of taste sensation like salt, sweet and bitter on anterior 2/3 by using a cotton bud, and ask the patient to recognize the taste. For parasympathetic, we can do the Stirmer's test, which is for to assessing the lacrimation. So that corneal reflex examination also we can do to rule out the facial nerve injury.